All right, it's time though. Street Fighter League US. I want to talk about these teams a little bit. Finally announced the full squad, and something's a little interesting about these squads, huh? So Team Endemic, Samurai, Chris CCH, Reynolds, Flash Metroid, Mena, Chris T, Kaba, Xiaohai, and Team Bandits. UYU has Knuckle Dude, Dual Kevin, Jin, VX Bao, Red Rooster. I like Red Rooster because it's the all PR team. Mono, Ajax, Fidelity, Banana Ken, PR Balrog. Versus Vortex, Oil King, DCQ, CN, NL. And then Nasser, Angry Bird, Big Bird, Nephew, Punk. There's a lot of interesting things about this. First of all, I think US is about 10%, maybe 25% of Street Fighter League US. We have Street Fighter League Japan, comprised of entirely Japanese players. Street Fighter League EU, comprised of entirely EU players. And then Street Fighter League US, with hardly any US players. I really do be like that. I was kind of okay with it last season. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But then it's like 2 seasons in, they're still doing this format. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, PR is a US territory. And then, you know, DR is NA technically. So it's not too big of a deal for me. But I do feel like we're just completely abandoning our US players. I like that Street Fighter League EU is investing more in the esports and Street Fighter talent to actually sort of raise up the scene and give more opportunities to the not problem X's and the ending walkers, you know, the players that aren't necessarily getting the same shine through, you know, completely valid means. I mean, it's all based on merit at the end of the day for the most part, but I do wish there was more of that emphasis in Street Fighter League US, and I get why they do it. This is actually Street Fighter League World. It's Street Fighter League Japan, EU, and then US is rest of the world. Yeah, if you're gonna pick from the very best in the world, there's gonna be people from all over to comprise the event. So, you know, you got Angry Bird, Big Bird, you know, this whole team versus Vortex here. Bandits has Xiaohai on there, you know, and then UIU is, you know, half China, half USA. I get it. If they're really trying to get the rest of the world represented, I understand. Ideally, we would have a Street Fighter League for every region, so this wouldn't happen, but it ruins the theme because the theme is regions. With Street Fighter League last season, I was proud that I was able to pick and recruit Team CLG, which was entirely American players. You know, we had Chris CCH, Samurai, Anton, and who am I missing? Someone's slipping my mind right now. That's who I recruited, even though there was other players available. I wasn't able to go because I was undergoing my surgery for cancer, and I wanted CLG to have an all-American team. I was proud to have that, and Team CLG actually went to the finals and got second in the whole season, losing to Team UIU, who at the time consisted of basically versus Vortex. This team was essentially Team UIU, right? It was Oil King, DCQ, NL, and was it literally this team? It's the exact same team. They just rebranded. UIU dropped all of them. They won Street Fighter League US. In the very finals at Capcom Cup, they combined Capcom Cup, the individual singles event, which is the main event, and then also the final teams that won for each region had a showdown at Capcom Cup, a round robin of EU versus Japan versus US. And then it was Team US versus Japan in the finals, but Team US was comprised entirely of Asian players. There was no horse in the race. It felt like Team Japan had their region to root for, and then the team representing US, not a single player is from or lived in the US. So I feel like it kind of ruins the whole regional aspect of it at the end of the season. So I don't know. I'm not really certain about the format in terms of making the teams play at the end, but I get why we have a world one. I mean, we're getting the best of the best of the best, which is awesome to see. But it's kind of funny how UIU completely swapped out their roster here. I don't know how this happened. UIU is an enigma to me. I've never been able to understand them. But Team Nasser is broken. Angry Bird, Big Bird, Nephew, and Punk. I think Nephew and Punk are always like a package deal. Nephew is always on every team with Punk, and it kind of makes sense because Angry Bird and Big Bird are also a package deal, and Nephew and Punk are a package deal. So you need 4 players. It makes sense that they got matched up together. But in terms of balancing, like this just doesn't make sense. Nephew's had some pretty good results for himself, but obviously the main stars right here, right now, at this moment are Angry Bird, Big Bird, and Punk. Like these 3 have been literally best in the world. So this is absurd. I like Team Red Rooster as well. I'm a big fan of Mono and Ajax Fidelity. PR Rog being back in the mix just warms my OG 09er heart. And then Banana Ken, I'm a huge fan of Banana Ken. It's awesome to see him back in the mix. I mean, his JP is schnasty. He's been like #1 in the leaderboards for MR for a while. Ajax and PR Rog are 2 dedicated jury mains. That means it's going to be a very annoying team. This team is annoying. DJ, Jury, and JP, no one wants to fight those matchups. Bandits is also busted. Mena, Chris T, Kaba, Xiaohai. Mena, Chris T, and Kaba makes sense to me. I've seen them hang out at events and everything, but like importing Xiaohai just seems so funny. And then versus Vortex, Oil King, I'm not sure who Oil King's playing right now. He was playing Manon, but I think he dropped that character. Maybe Rashid now. DCQ has a nasty JP, CN with DJ, NL with Luke, super stack team. UYU NuckleDo is obviously top 2 US. The only one challenging Punk right now, doing work. Dual Kevin, probably top 5 US right now with his Luke. Jen with his DJ, and VX Bao, nasty JP as well. And then Endemic, all-American Endemic, Samurai, Chris CCH, Reynolds, Flash Metroid. Samurai's going to be playing Luke. Chris, Ken, and maybe Luke now. Reynolds with his JP, and Flash repping Blanca. So the only Blanca here in the whole events. So it's going to be good games. But, you know, on top of that, they not only replaced all the US players with international players, I think they're trying to also replace the US audience with an international audience as well. You can see they're just going to air every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Pacific time, which means midnight Eastern. Who is this for on a Wednesday? Who is this for? I guess it's for all you guys. Yeah, it's starting in 15 minutes from this stream time, but I'm about to get ready to go to bed. I'll be brushing my teeth and laying in bed watching it. And usually they do like 2 hours of footage, multiple episodes at one, multiple matches at once per episode. So I don't understand who this is for. So this is really strange to me. They need to move this earlier. It should start at 6 p.m. Pacific. I think that's the strategy. They're trying to capture a more international audience, maybe some more Asia audience. Japan's viewership for Street Fighter 6 has also been through the roof, and a large part due to VTubers taking over the Street Fighter 6 streaming scene and driving the numbers up. So there could be a play from Capcom here to try to capitalize on that viewership and get Street Fighter League US to be more suitable for Japanese audiences to watch in Japan, because the viewership in Japan has been huge. Far beyond US and NA viewership, or just Western audiences viewership for Street Fighter 6 right now. So that could be what they're doing. I don't know. It seems a little weird. It feels like this event is not for US anymore. However, the players are fantastic. Best in the world by far. I'm sure it's going to be really exciting. I would have loved to have seen Snake Eyes in here. I don't know how much they would have to offer to get Snake Eyes to leave for 2 weeks to play Street Fighter 6. I know a thing or two about having Snake Eyes in the team tournament format. Snake Eyes would have been super clutch and add really good character variety. Mike Ross got cut from Versus Vortex. Yeah, CN said, Mike, you're not making the cut for this one. No, Idom. Yeah, it's. I can see Idom making a team, but I honestly feel like people would just look at him playing Manon and go, that's just a liability. Idom has been really consistent in his tournament results, but it hasn't been the same caliber of Idom, and I think that's in large part because of the character he's playing. No one on this roster is playing a low-tier character, except Oil King. I'm not sure who he's playing right now. He was also playing Chun-Li, right? I think he was playing Manon, Chun-Li, and probably now Rashid. So I think he ditched the low tier life. So no one here is playing a bad character. And I think that's a huge part of it. You're picking, a lot of people are picking their teams based on matchups. And generally how these work is usually the sponsor, it's a franchise model, right? The sponsor usually has one player or one point of contact who then kind of recruits the rest of the team. So if Idom wasn't asked or he declined, I don't know, maybe I can get the inside scoop from him another time. Idom might be too Hollywood, who knows? Because he might have fit on Team Endemic. But no one's playing low tier characters. I don't think someone wants to get him a known and have them just be counterpicked by all the JPs. Look, there's JP, 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 JP. The only team without a JP player is Nasser. No Shine, no Strider. Yeah, there could have been a Street Fighter League US with US players, right? Like, I will always be rooting for US players because, you know, that's my scene. Those are my boys. That's my crew. I understand that they might not be necessarily the best in the world. If you're picking from the world, like I can pick players that, like, obviously Angry Bird and Big Bird, or they're gonna beat almost everybody in USA besides like Punk or NuckleDo, who'll put up a fight. But there's players knocking on that door, and when you compare it to Street Fighter League EU, it's like Street Fighter League EU is willing to invest in those players, and it's like you definitely could have had a Strider, a Shine, Noah. I don't know if Noah might end up getting the show canceled. I don't know. Maybe even a Joe if you want to include Canada. I would have been happy with at least NA, because NA, like, we play tournaments together, like Uriel, yeah, Uriel, like Mexico in there, because at least we're training together. JB, of course, yeah, JB's been on a tear recently. He's been doing so good. So there's a lot of players that you could have chosen from to have a really interesting US Street Fighter League. But I do get it. If they're trying to do the best of the best of the best of the best of the best, then obviously a few players from this region and a few players at the top from each region makes more sense. But I don't know. It's still a little bit disappointing to me. To me, I feel like this is where they should focus on regionality. Capcom Cup is doing regional focused qualifications due to the fact that they're doing everything online. So to me, I would much prefer Capcom Cup go back to the old CPT Tour format, where you have to go to events and you collect points on the leaderboard, and it's not region locked. To me, the singles format is where it should just be about the best of the best of the best, even if 50% of the bracket at the end of the year ends up being Japan, so be it. Those are the best players in the world. So to me, the singles format is where I want to get rid of the region locking. But for Street Fighter League, that to me, in a team format where I'm supposed to be invested in the team and care about the team, like, look, let's be real here. What does NuckleDu, Dual Kevin, Shen, and VXPow have in common? They got nothing in fucking common. None of them are sponsored by UIU. Do they even know each other? You get what I'm saying? Have these people ever spoken a word to each other? I know Dual Kevin and NuckleDu know each other, but you get what I'm saying, right? It just feels like an odd pairing. I like Red Rooster because that's a PR team. I like Endemic because it's all US. Bandits is almost there, but then Shanghai feels out of left field to me. Versus Vortex makes sense, and Nasser kind of makes sense because they're friendly. But you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just they're just throwing players together because they're good, and it doesn't really inspire a sense of connection because these are teams. Like, they're trying to get to the point where they want to franchise these spots in Street Fighter League and sell teams. So how am I supposed to care about this team? That's where I feel like having regionality in Street Fighter League US makes way more sense. It makes way more sense in Street Fighter League. But in the singles format, we're doing region locked events just based on practicality because they don't want to have fun to tour, and they're doing only online qualifiers. Because remember, only around 2 people per region are going to qualify. So some larger countries are divvied up into multiple sub-regions, but Japan is only going to have 2 people in Capcom Cup, most likely. There's 3 supplemental open, non-region locked open qualifiers that are offline, and 1 will be this weekend in Singapore. But for the most part, only 2 people per region are going to qualify. So Japan's going to have max 2 people, UK max 2 people, US is divided into 3 regions, so it's going to have 6 people. And so you get the idea, right? So Capcom Cup is region locked, even though if they left it open like previous years before COVID, it would probably be 60% Japanese players in the bracket. And then, a few from Asia, rest of Asia, a few from, Angry Bird, Big Bird, maybe a Punk and NuckleDu. So I feel like they're mixing up the priorities here. I don't know. I think the games will be great. I think it'll be entertaining at the end of the day, but I'm a little disappointed in that. Maybe I'm focusing on the negatives too much, though. What do you guys think? Am I nitpicking too much? I really think they just gotta get rid of this US. This needs to be Street Fighter League World. Like, calling it Street Fighter League US and then not having US teams and then not airing it at a time where US people can watch it just feels stupid to me. Am I complaining too much? Probably. Just rename it to Street Fighter League World and be done with it.